Hi, hello. Good morning. How are you? It's been a day already. Yeah, it's 10:31 a.m. It's been a day already. Um, it's let's see here. Let's see here. It's uh, it's been a week. It's been a month. It's been a year. Nobody even knows what. It's not even a dumpster fire. I don't even know what it is. Okay, enough bullshit. I digress. This is the third iteration of this video. Um, very, very boring subject. Sorry, it's so boring, but it's going to affect your pocketbook, so you might want to fucking pay attention. The tariffs are a lie. No, the tariffs are actually happening. But that number on the left side of the little thing that he brought out and showed and pointed at, those are made up. If you happen to consume any of the right wing media bullshit, that little algebra that made, you know, your, your eyes bleed, it's not a real fucking equation. It's fucking fake. Fox News didn't even call it out. Um, maybe they did. Maybe one guy that they talked to was like, I don't know where that's from. I've never seen that before. No economist uses that because it's not a real equation. I don't. I'm waiting for the video that somebody tries to do that and use that and go, this is what this means. It's gibberish. It There's a guy who's a real estate guy, but also a trading guy called Meet Kevin. He put out a video yesterday talking about that. And he was like, it was even while we were watching it live, the tariffs being announced. And there's a reason why Trump did it after market hours closed, when the normal day closed, but after hours dropped over 100 fucking points. I think almost 200 points. As he was talking, we were waiting for it to do its thing, and it took about 5, maybe 10 minutes into Trump's, litany of bullshit for the markets, the aftermarkets, to fucking go down. And those are the futures markets that trade almost 20, they trade 23 hours, I guess kind of 6 days a week. Um, and and some of the other markets, the international markets that are going. I mean, it's going down, and yesterday it went down, and overnight it went down 100 points. It's dropping significantly. It is not normal for the markets to drop thousands of points like this. And the fact that it's the president, normally the president doesn't necessarily affect the market all that much. It might have momentary raises or dips where something is announced that is either not so good for the economy or good for the economy. Like the Fed chair Powell is about to speak. I'm anticipating he's not going to be able to lower interest rates, either not as fast or at all, because that would definitely put us into a faster movement into recession. We have not experienced a real huge economic crisis of the likes of the Great Depression, because the government stepped in 2008 and during COVID. The government is causing this. This is Trump's economy. And instead of doing what he was doing, he decided he was just going to rip off the Band-Aid and just do tariffs on everybody, and then let the markets have really bad days. He anticipated the bad days. He anticipated the dips. And then he's like, and then they'll realize it's so great and so wonderful. They'll settle, and then they'll just shoot back up, triple, quadruple, 100 times more than what they were. Only he's a fucking moron in that regard. No. Because if you're causing these tariffs that have direct impact on our food, on all bits and pieces, on clothing, on you're gonna stop doing fast clothing real fast. You're gonna figure out, you're gonna pull out that sewing machine and go, we are fucking fixing this bitch. And you're going to realize how shitty clothes are, that they can't necessarily be fixed by sewing when they're fast fashion. You're going to realize that that's not just like a trendy thing, that that's a real motherfucking concern. That is a real whole shit issue. People, the markets are an emotional beast. And it is the emotions of the collective economy. That is why there is a response and a reaction when there's major things happening. When we don't have enough people buying things, it dips down and affects the market in that regard because there's huge contraction. The market doesn't do anything. The market is going down and you wonder why. How am I playing the market? It's because I'm playing against it. I'm betting it's going to go down. And right now I'm up $100. Because you can make some money on it, whether it goes up or whether it goes down, if you figure it out and know the fuck you're doing. I'm not betting a huge amount of money on this. $141 to make sometimes $50, to make sometimes, because I have a very small account, sometimes I can make $100. I made $60 yesterday. And there are times when I lose. And my losses are very small. I think $60 has been the largest that I've lost a couple weeks ago. Because I have put in thousands to doing this. And I've lost most of those thousands. I've made it and I've completely lost it. I've completely bunked my account. And that is part of the lesson of learning about the markets, of learning how to do this. And it was not easy. It was at a time when I had expendable cash. I could either buy stupid things with it, or things that, kitschy things, or, something that we would like but didn't really need because everything we needed was taken care of, or I could put money into an account and figure out how to trade. And I did. I did really good initially. And I learned a lot from losing all of it. I don't want to be one of those people that loses $20,000 to $40,000. So I'm being very considerate. I have an active paper trading underneath, and I'm doing minimal, and my negative, my tolerance for loss is very, very small. So sometimes I will exit out of a trade because, like yesterday, I exited out early. If I left one contract in, I probably would have made $100, $150. Would have made on top of 30 because I would have exited out half the trade. Because the market did what I thought it was going to do. It was going to continue to track down. And it did. Over the day, it did. Because I do this, I have to understand how the market works, what's moving the market, who I'm playing against. It is a volume game, if you're actually playing in it. But what it reflects is the emotions of what's going on. I have no idea what's going to happen when Colin Powell speaks. Most people would sit here and go, hey, you might want to take your profits and get out. Because he speaks in about 30 minutes. 35 minutes. I'm pretty sure that the market's going to continue in a downtrend. And I will hit a place where I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to take my profits and run. I'm going to trail my stop down, and I'm going to let it be what it's doing. If you care, I'm doing. I want to get into futures. I don't quite have the account for that yet, so I'm doing options. If you care further, I typically trade options that are several days in advance, in case I want to hold something overnight, because sometimes I will do a longer trade, which has actually worked out for me. Previously, it did not. That was part of the reason why I lost so much, because I wasn't reading the market right back then. But everything is about to be more expensive. the reason why we had a revolution to begin with is because King George III used maybe some tariffs, but mostly taxes, as a economic tool of punishment. If you particular colony doesn't do what I like, or give me the money or production or percentage that I want, I'm going to tax this, that, and the other thing. And they would do it and implement it without representatives in there. It would take 2 months for the ship to go back and forth. For a ship to even get there, or for them, to get a letter back, it would be another 2 months. So communication was not swift. And decisions were made often while the response was going back to the king. He'd receive it and he'd be like, too late, because the ship was almost there that had the, taxes that were being levied. And there was nobody permanently there to represent the interest and who understood what the colonies wanted as a whole and to do that. So he would put colonies against each other. He would want quid pro quo out of certain companies, specific companies, or people who had, become wealthy during their time in the colonies and were in control of a lot of economics. But they didn't necessarily have a political position. And if people didn't comply, everybody got punished for it. What Trump is doing now is what we've been watching him do with lawyers, with the big lawyer houses, so the law firms, sorry, and with who else? With the media companies. Is you have a bunch of people complying in advance because they see something is happening and they don't want their financial boat rocked too hard right now. They're going to go, we're just going to ask for forgiveness later, and we're just going to comply right now so that we can keep paying people, so that we can keep providing media. Except when they're complying in advance, they're not actually providing quality news. They're providing what Trump wants to hear with very minimal pushback, just enough to make it look like to the people that they're kind of pushing back and they're not in his pocket, when they're definitely in his pocket because they gave him money. One media company, and I cannot remember which one is which, but one gave him $5 million. The next one gave him $15 million. And another gave him, 20 or 40 million? That is not normal. And for a law firm, to give the president $40 million, you don't even understand how much that is. How much that is. $40 million in law services. That's illegal. That's quid pro quo. That's the fucking point. The president and the people he's surrounded himself with this time around do not give a fuck about you. They will sit there and they will say it. They will say it's for the people. It's for us. They're doing it for us. They're not. They're doing it for themselves. This is yet again a piece of evidence. If you lean into the markets and you follow this stuff and you're pretty somewhat savvy in your understanding, yes, the market will correct, but it won't recover until there's an infusion of sensibility. You can't have tariffs like this and not have it be devastating. This is also affecting global markets, guys. Global markets. There is no time in history like this time. Trump isn't like Hitler at all. He's his own special fascist idiot who just is like so surface. He's like surface. He wants the adulation. He wants the immediate compliance. He doesn't want to be questioned. He doesn't want somebody to tell him no. He just wants you to do what he fucking wants and fucking figure it out. Like, all the bad guys get displayed in all of those movies. Like, God, I can't. But here's the thing. Trump is not a man to do it himself because he's not man enough to do it himself. I guess you can't trust anybody. I got to do it. That is not Trump. He just starts pulling other people in front of him. He is a man who would put a baby as a body shield. That is who Trump is. And if you voted for him, that's what you put in office. He doesn't give a shit about you. His lack of understanding regarding tariffs is evident in that he actually built this plan, and nobody was going to say it because if we as a society break down, you stop fighting. That's the point. It's to make you economically scared so you don't get in the streets. Do not fucking fall for it. Yes, I hear the echoes. How am I going to feed my kids? We will figure it out together. We will figure this out together. But the quicker we get together in huge fucking numbers, tens of millions, every week, week after week for the next year or two, the quicker they understand, especially if we do it over the summer, the quicker they will understand that they cannot hold. We outnumber them to an incredible degree. This is the United States. Are you going to give up your gun when they turn around and say, hey, you got to give us your arms? If you are in a militia group, are you going to let your fellow militia members dictate to you what you can do in your home? Because now they've crossed a line that you're like, come on, God, this is not what we signed up for. We signed up to be against people of color and the Jews. What are you doing this to us, to our people? You signed up for it when you agreed to it to begin with. That's the whole thing. But if you don't want it to go to that place because you think somehow it's not going to, or you aren't going to be directly affected, there is no setup to feed the people who join Trump. There is no setup for that. That's an afterthought. That's I guess we should probably do that, huh? They're not even thinking about that. They want you to be their hammer. And they want the rest of the people to be so worried and sick with worry that we don't have the energy to go into the streets. It doesn't take much to go into the streets, people. I bet you'll have the gas, and I bet there's a bus that's probably going to go there. April 5th, tomorrow. Choose what street you want to go to. They are happening across the country. Show up. Show up. Watch kids so other people will show up, because it doesn't have to be the same tens of millions every time. Because we have 340 fucking million people in this country. And they cannot hold us. They cannot force this on us because we do not comply. The markets are telling us that this is not okay. And market corrections happen all the time. It's supposed to dip down and then recorrect. That is appropriate, because it would be just as bad for it to be shoved so far up that it's crazy. And it cannot do that. It cannot do that either. And that would be a dangerous thing to try and do. That would be devastating, as equally as what is happening now. Get to the streets. Please. Don't let the fear stop you from standing up for yourself, for your neighbor, for your mom and dad, for your children. I'll see you there. I'll see you in the streets.